Hi, it's Lisa Cuneo, and welcome to my scrapbook table. Here is the scrapbook layout that I am lifting today. Just pointing out some things there, the scallops, the 4 picture places across the top, and some tags. So I have used my dies and cut out a bunch of circles. Here's my photos. This is my mom with one of her brothers and one of my brothers. And then the smaller photo is my mom's 3 brothers. And this was probably the last time or the next to the last time that those 4 siblings were all together. So this is kind of an important picture that way. So here I have taken all these circles and punched them in half. Cut them in half. And I am making some marks here so I can draw a line across my page. I did one at 6 inches and one at 5.5 because I wasn't sure how high I wanted the border to go. In retrospect, I wish I had done it at 5 inches rather than the 5.5, and given myself a little more space at the top of the page and less at the bottom. So you can see it looks like the creator of the layout hand cut her scallops. I decided I was going to use some circle punches and try to make a scallop border that way. Actually, I used circle dies, not punches. I don't have many sizes that were big enough for circle punches. So I took 3 sheets of paper and cut my circles from them. Now you'll see that I'm going to use this Creative Memories repositionable tape runner. I really like it for things like this because it lets me lay things down how I think I want them and make adjustments. And I didn't have you watch all of that. And there it is. So I have this frame here from 49 a Market, but I want to make some other things with similar colors. So I'm using my swatch sheet of all my Distress oxides, and I end up pulling Antique Linen, the Marmalade one, and Worn Lipstick, and then I do pull out the Taffy also. So I just do direct to paper. That Antique Linen is a perfect match. The Worn Lipstick isn't quite as good. It was a little bit bright, but there is real bright pink on that layout, or on that frame as well. Then there's the Orange Marmalade, which is a good match too. I did pull out Taffy, Saltwater Taffy, I think it is, and I wish I had left more white on this little rectangle than I did. You'll see that I just go over the whole thing with the Taffy, and I wish I had left white marks. But it is what it is. So then since I realized, oh, I wanted some white left on there, I pulled out my Dino Wakley gloss spray just in the white, and I add that to several places on those pieces. And here it is. It needs shaken really well. For some reason, it just didn't seem quite right. I should have cut that part out. You didn't need to see me shaking that and making you dizzy on the screen there. And I use quite a bit of this. I have never been able to use this as a spray. Even when it was brand new, I couldn't get the sprayer to work. So I always just use it to splatter white on things. And that's just how I've had to use it. I don't know even if the sprayer worked, if I would end up doing that or not. But I set those aside to dry. And here's the scallop page. And I have the frame. I have that bright pink piece from the same container or package of 49 a Market things. That frame is going to go around the photo of my mom and her brother and my brother. But as usual, it's not the right size for the photo that I have. So if you've watched my channel a while, you've probably seen me do this before. I just trim off the part of the frame that isn't the right color, or I'm sorry, right size. Cut it down and then re-add it to the edge. And yes, you can see a little bit that there's a seam there, but that really doesn't bother me. It's not a big deal. So this layout is part of a game of layout tag that I'm doing The Facebook group is called the Scrapbook Nerd Friends group. Scrapbook Nerd is a scrapbooking store in Canada. I believe in Quebec, but I could be wrong about that because I've never gotten to go there. Anyway, we're playing a game of layout tag, and I don't know who did the layout that I'm using as inspiration. Eventually I will find that out, but right now I don't know. So by the time this goes up on my channel, there will be some more information, so I will put that in the description box below when the time comes. Now I'm using this other frame that I added ink to put around this pink piece, and it's not quite long enough. You can see there's a gap at the bottom, but in the end that's not going to matter because that part's going to be covered up with some embellishments, so the gap's okay. Excuse me, I needed to take a drink there. And then I have this panel that I inked up. That's going to serve as a mat for the photo of the three brothers. And then there'll be some embellishments, and the date is going to go in the yellow piece on the right. So I have some stickers here. I've gone through my color bins. I went through the one where I keep pinks and then the one where I keep oranges and yellows. Pulled out way more things than I'm going to use, but that's okay. I wanted part of this label sticking up here, and at first I thought it was a sticker and that the white edge would go away, but it wasn't, and I don't know why I started gluing it down. And then I realized, oh, I need to cut the white off. I didn't want that white edge showing, so I just trimmed it off and stuck the little edge of a label down there. I think about putting some things up in that corner, but I'm not ready to commit to that. This is a clear sticker of a pink flower. I wasn't sure where I was going to put it. Ultimately, I want it up in that corner, so I just trimmed a 90-degree angle there, or as close as I could come. I should have done that while it was still on the sticker paper. It's a very sticky sticker, and it stuck to my scissors and my fingers and everything else. Here are some little butterflies that I had trimmed out. I have 3 there right now. I do end up getting rid of the one I'm working on there now. It looks fine here on the screen, but for some reason when I was working on the layout, when I was finishing up, it just stuck out too much, and not in a good way for some reason, so I got rid of that. The original layout had a tag sticking up here on the right, in the right half. I didn't really have a tag, so I used a sticker that I liked the color, but I didn't want the words, and I covered it up with another little label thing. And that's going to go right there. I didn't end up putting string or anything on it because it's not a real tag. I don't know, maybe I should have. So now here's where things kind of go a little haywire. I put these flower stickers on there and decided later that I didn't like them, and I replaced them, and I wish I hadn't. Here I'm going to add the splatter because the original layout has splatter in the upper left and bottom right corners. So I am using the color called One Hot Mama from Shimmers, and I tried to show you on the camera there, but it didn't seem to want to focus. So I was just testing it on this scrap of paper, which I then used to cover up my photos because I don't want splatter to go on my photos. So there, those are covered up. And usually I do my splattering in a big pizza box that I saved one time, and I don't know why I didn't get that out this time because now I end up with pink splatter all over my table. But it really is the perfect pink for this. And now you can see that I took off the bright stickers and I put these on, and I really wish I hadn't done that. I liked the old version better. But it is what it is, and ultimately in 20 years it won't matter that I feel like these flowers are too soft colored for what I wanted here. They've been in my stash for ages, so I was happy to get them used, and then I realized I wish I hadn't used them. I wish I had left things the way they were. They just seem, I don't know. I'm not sure what made me make the change. I wish I had just left things alone. Here I am removing this one. And technically I could go back and fix it, but these are glued down as opposed to just being a sticker. And I think they would tear my paper and I might have a bigger mess on my hands than I want to deal with. So ultimately, I decide to leave it alone. The only journaling I add is the names of who these people are and the date. I just make sure that I put the names in order left to right of how the people are standing, because maybe someday someone will be looking at this and they won't know that for sure. The date is July, and it's either 1980 or 81. You'll see as I'm writing the date over on the far right that I hesitate after I write July, but it's close enough. I chose 1980. Here's some still shots coming up. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great day and that you get to scrapbook something soon.